Caiaphas had been viewed for centuries as the person responsible for driving Jesus to his death. While others wept, he remained calm, firm, and silent as the high priest. People believed he had no shame, no remorse, and no guilt. But in his final days, something shifted. He spoke something. Everyone was surprised at what the man who had once referred to Jesus as a liar was saying when he began to speak. He spoke of things he had long concealed as a secret. His voice was heavy, dark, and fearful. What did Caiaphas eventually speak of before he passed away? Join us in this video as we discuss the facts. There was a man once named Caiaphas. He was not any ordinary man. He was the high priest of the Jewish people at a time when they were facing a very difficult time. Caiaphas was an extremely influential person. He had control over a lot of significant political and religious matters. He belonged to a party called the Sadducees. They were a party of strong and wealthy families. The Roman kings, who were ruling the land at that time, worked closely with these families. These families could keep their wealth, power, and high standing by having the Romans entrust Jewish matters to these leaders. Caiaphas had a special responsibility. He had to keep peace among the Jews and ensure that nothing happened that would irritate the Romans. He was to keep things in order and protect religious traditions. He and his other leaders would be blamed if something was amiss, if there was unrest or dissatisfaction. He had to be very careful not to do anything that would cause trouble because of it. One preacher, Jesus of Nazareth, started to make a lot of headlines at the time. He was traveling, giving talks to huge crowds of people, curing them, and imparting a message that many people believed was inspiring and uplifting. Some believed that he was the one God had sent to deliver the people, the long-awaited Messiah. And as Jesus kept talking and doing miracles, more and more people started following him. They heard what he said, observed what he did, and believed that he was a very special person. Caiaphas learned of all this, and he began to fear. He feared that Jesus' increasing popularity would cause the Romans to view it as a threat. If the Romans believed the Jewish people were rallying behind some man who claimed to be a king or a God-appointed leader, then they might intervene in force. This could lead to peril, not only for the leaders such as Caiaphas, but for the entire Jewish nation. The throngs of people cheering Jesus at Passover, the largest Jewish holiday of the year, added to the tension. Pilgrims filled the city, passions were running high, and anything might set off a riot. So Caiaphas made a decision. He called together the other leaders, the Sanhedrin, and they had a serious consultation. They inquired of one another what to do with this Jesus fellow. Some were hesitant, but Caiaphas stood and gave them a straightforward answer. He said they didn't know the risk. He said it would be more beneficial to have one man die than for the entire nation to perish. It sounded like he was considering the people, but at heart, he could have been more concerned with his own power and status. With that choice, they proceeded. They planned to arrest Jesus secretly. They did not want to make a scene in front of the crowds, so they waited for the appropriate time. While Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, they dispatched guards to arrest him. He was taken in front of Caiaphas, and the trial commenced. Caiaphas sat on his throne-like chair, gazing down upon Jesus, questioning him, and reciting the things that Jesus had done. He wished for Jesus to desist from what he was doing, but Jesus wouldn't. He was just calm and firm, even when there was danger. Following discussions with the other leaders, it was Caiaphas who made the final decision. He declared that Jesus was to be crucified. He felt he was eliminating a problem. He believed that it was the best way to end the increasing tension and save their people from Roman punishment. However, he did not realize that this act would initiate something much greater than anybody could have ever dreamed of. Within a couple of centuries, the religion based on Jesus' life and death, Christianity, would spread all over the Roman Empire and even become its official religion. What did Jesus do after he was crucified, and is it possible that the rumors of his return could be true? Let's get to know. Various things began to occur when Jesus was crucified. Soon, there were rumors. There were claims that Jesus had come back to life. The roads were filled with gossip. Some said that the grave in which he had been buried is empty now. Some said they saw angels. Some others reported seeing Jesus himself, walking and talking again. Caiaphas didn't know what to make of it. He was in an uproar. Before they created more chaos, he wished to bring an end to the gossip. All were amazed at what his guards discovered when he had them go to verify. Yes, the tomb was vacant. The guards who were guarding it were frightened and terrified when the stone was rolled away. They reported shining lights were seen, and angels descended and opened the sepulchre. This frightened Caiaphas even more. He sent emissaries to locate two of Jesus' most devoted followers, Peter and John, and to obtain the truth. Peter and John visited him. They did not behave frightened like before. Indeed, they appeared courageous and happy. They told Caiaphas that they had seen Jesus alive. He had spoken with them, presented them with the wounds from the crucifixion, and even taken a meal with them. They declared that over 500 individuals had encountered Jesus since his resurrection. They were eyewitness testimonies from individuals who had been familiar with Jesus. They weren't mere outlandish stories. Caiaphas did not know how to respond. Previously, in hiding and frightened, these men were now standing boldly in front of him. It was clear to him that they truly believed what they were telling him. It was not fabricated. Jesus was seen to have risen from the dead. As they told these stories around Jerusalem, more and more began to believe them. Even James, Jesus' own brother, who had hitherto questioned him, began to follow him and called him Lord. Caiaphas could see it happening before his very eyes as the movement picked up speed. Then a more unbelievable thing happened. Caiaphas was reading in his own private room one evening when a remarkable thing occurred. He was sitting and reading through ancient texts regarding the Messiah when there was a subdued presence in the room. Caiaphas was taken aback to see the face of someone he recognized as he raised his head. Jesus was the one. He stood before him, his eyes calm and grieving as he looked at Caiaphas. He should not be afraid, Jesus instructed him. He stated that his death was supposed to occur, that it was in God's plan to pardon all humanity. Caiaphas collapsed to the ground, weeping. He could not speak. When he glanced a second time, Jesus had vanished, and the room door remained locked. Caiaphas remained shocked. He now accepted that all that people were saying was actual. In fact, Jesus had resurrected. He was the one on whom the scriptures had ever spoken. Others claimed to have seen Jesus alive during the days and weeks that followed. He kept appearing to his followers, providing them with instructions and encouragement. He provided a mission to his disciples as they stood on a hill prior to him returning to heaven. He instructed them to go forth and spread the good news, teach others, and baptize them in God's name. He promised to remain with them until the end of time. Peter and John, formerly skeptical, now testified about their encounter. When asked how they came to know Jesus, Peter replied that it began when his brother Andrew brought them around. Andrew had seen Jesus and had felt something strong. He said they had discovered the Messiah. Peter did not believe at first, but when he saw Jesus in person, he felt something in his heart. They asked him to walk with them, and Peter could not refuse. John explained that he too felt attracted to Jesus from the beginning. There was something in him that was not easy to describe: kindness, wisdom, peace. They witnessed how Jesus loved everyone, even when the people ill-treated him. They witnessed him heal the afflicted, teach with such great wisdom, and be unruffled in all circumstances.